Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks podcast. I'm Charles Skaggs, trying desperately to get this episode recorded. And I'm right here with Zan Sprouse, who is looking at her Darth Vader calendar that she got for Christmas.
Look at my creep calendar. Yes. I was just writing something down while Charles was adjusting the recording situation.
Yeah, so basically this is like, I think, take 2.5. As we're
this
trying
is
to get
third
this.
time's the charm, Charles.
I hope so. Okay, so
yes,
the recorder's going. Skype hasn't crashed yet. Fingers crossed. So we're here to talk about demons, and we're trying really hard to get through this one because we've already talked about it. And
right.
So here at episode 47, the reason why this episode is so late is because, to the surprise of no one, Charles is an idiot. I got a new microphone for Christmas, and it did not work like I thought it would. I was all happy and exuberant and wanting to try it out, and thought, I could work. Zan's going to record Ghostwood with me, and we're going to talk about it, and this would be a great excuse. Well, as it happens, the audio was not working correctly, and simply because I had a headphone and the new microphone in two separate USB ports, and I think my Skype recorder did not like that one bit. So, as a result,
well, the microphone, to the microphone's defense,
yes,
the microphone worked. It was the recording that didn't work.
Exactly, it was the recorder that didn't work because apparently my MP3 Skype recorder had a fit with that, and it kind of went all glitchy and only recorded my audio. So, which
I said, hilarious. It would have been like the podcast version of Garfield minus Garfield.
Yeah.
But Charles thought it would just be too weird.
Yeah. Well, I listened to the audio and it did sound really weird. Unless it was one of those kind of like a Mad Lib where you kind of fill in your own like retort to whatever I was saying.
That'd be kind of cool if you were asking questions or making comments, and the listening audience could make up their own responses to you.
Exactly. It'd
be like
we got Black Mirror doing like a choose your own adventure type episode.
I was just going to say it's a choose your own podcast
in Bandersnatch, but so this would be like our big technological achievement, improvement, whatever. That hey, you could just kind of fill in your own. Be your own podcast co-host to my audio, but
yeah, there you go.
There you go. So maybe someday you'll get to hear that. But
yeah, there we go. Yes, but
it's there and it happened, and so we tried take 2, and then our recording kind of got screwed up again, so we stopped.
But we noticed it within 10 minutes rather than an hour and a half.
Exactly. So I think it was better that I stopped it when I did.
Yes.
Rather than us talk all over again and have everything all screwed up. So, with that in mind, let's try and talk about this episode, shall we?
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Talk about demons. Let's summon some demons.
Yes. Oh, but first, I do have to show you my cool new other thing that I got for Christmas.
What did you get?
I got a new CD.
All I see is a reflection.
Yeah. Can you see it?
What?
How about now?
Okay. I see it now.
Okay, because I tilted on an angle. This is the album Total Depravity by The Veils. If you remember, The Veils did a little song by the name of Axolotl on Twin Peaks The Return.
Yes, they did.
So I kind of dug the band, and I like some of their other stuff, so I put this on my Christmas list.
Sweet.
So I got some new Twin Peaks sort of related, because Axolotl is on here.
That's awesome.
So,
yeah.
And this is the album edit, as opposed to the version that aired in Twin Peaks, was just slightly different.
Yes, slightly different.
But it's not
That's cool because I've
it's not noticeable all that much.
since the return, I've been trying to really increase my chromatics and Johnny Jewel collections.
Yeah, see, I need to do
And
that because I dug the chromatics big time.
oh yeah, they're fantastic. And um, I was gonna get a chromatics record, but it was out of stock. So I figured, you know what, we'll wait for another time. We're gonna have a nicer Christmas. So I got this instead.
What did you get? I can't see the glare. Now you see my. Okay, I see that. Now,
Well, here, let me do
is that
this.
Johnny Jewels?
It is not. It's even better.
What? I can't see because the
can't
picture
see it?
quality is not that great.
Oh, dang it. It's Jeff Goldblum's new record.
Oh, okay, yeah, because you're a little pixelated. So, yep.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it's Jeff Goldblum's new jazz album.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember
Which is
him,
getting, like,
that he's a
stupidly good
musician.
reviews.
He does actually use some pretty
Yeah.
notable jazz albums, if I remember
He
correctly.
does.
So, did you enjoy it?
I did, but then
But you were going to
it'd
enjoy
be
it
hard
anyway?
not to because he's. Yeah, I was going to enjoy it anyway.
Yeah. It's a shame he's
So it
not
was fun.
Goldbluming on the cover.
He's sort of like kind of dancing around, but I just love him for embracing his eccentricity.
Yeah,
I think
his
he's
quirkiness.
Yeah, it's working for him in a way that I think is, as opposed to somebody who like Nicolas Cage, where I think it's working against him.
Yeah. I think Nicolas Cage tries too hard to be out there, to be a little out there.
I think he tries a little too hard to be serious.
Yeah.
And so it just comes off as even
cheesy. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Like you think he takes himself too seriously.
I think he does. Yeah.
There's something to be said for that.
No.
But anyway. All right. So I just thought I'd mention that because I thought it is Twin Peaks related, and
that's awesome.
And actually, really, I finally got to listen to the whole thing today, so really dug it. And yes, it's on CD for you kids under the age of 30 who don't know what a CD is.
I would buy it, Charles. I'm telling you, I would buy more records if it came with download codes.
Right.
Because I still, to this day, I mean, vinyl's great and everything like that, but tell me how you listen to that on your bike or on the train or on the bus or in your car.
Well,
and the answer is you can't.
Yeah, that's true. Now with CDs, I can rip it and turn it into MP3s if I want, which I do.
Much quicker than you can.
Right.
With vinyl records, you can buy the program and get the USB turntable, but it's real time, so it takes a while.
Exactly. So it's just it's a whole thing with vinyl, obviously.
Yep, it's a whole big thing.
It's a whole.
And you got to listen to the music in one room. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah.
I still love it though.
All right. So let's talk about demons.
Let's talk about them.
Obviously, the 6th episode of the 2nd season aired on November 3rd, 1990. So getting up there. Written by Harley Peyton and Robert Engels, two of the better Twin Peaks writers, and directed by
Robert Engels, of course, who wrote Fire Walk with Me.
Right. Directed by Leslie Linka Glatter, who you kind of talked about a little bit in our previous attempt.
I started to.
You started
let's
to.
Let's see if maybe Skype doesn't like me talking about this, but yes, Leslie Linka Glatter. Robert Engels also wrote some episodes of On the Air, and Leslie Linka Glatter directed. And not the same episodes, of course, but Leslie Linka Glatter directed my favorite episode of On the Air, which was the episode with Mr. Peanuts, the hand puppet.
Right.
The one with my all-time favorite line ever uttered by Miguel Ferrer in anything ever.
Which is?
And if that wacko puppet ever lays a finger on me again, he'll be at the nearest Salvation Army barracks sucking wind at the bottom of an orphan's barrel before the sweat dries on your hand. Do I make myself clear?
Nice.
Do you know how long I practiced to do that?
I was going to say, you rattled that off effortlessly.
It's. Have you ever heard Carrie Fisher talk about how difficult it was to say, I've placed information vital to the survival of the rebellion into the memory systems of this R2 unit?
No, but I can imagine.
I feel that. I feel exactly what she was, when I heard her tell that story, I thought to myself, that was me in that stupid quote that I, for some reason, felt the need to memorize at some point.
Right.
But yeah, that's I
Well,
think that, yeah, that's like
well,
muscle memory at this point from how to say that, because I had to practice a lot because I stumbled over it a few times.
it paid off because that sounded perfection to me. I loved it. So
Because how many sentences do you say in your life that can include both Orphan's Barrel and Sucking Wind? I mean, it doesn't happen very often.
yeah. Now you notice
So,
Miguel Ferrer. I mean, he's obviously as Albert. He gets a lot of those tongue
mm-hmm.
twisters, especially
Yeah,
that where he's talking about like just like you chucklehead, you hayseed, and he goes on this big long rant that I can't obviously do
oh,
justice to.
I am a naysayer and hatchet man
That's
in a
it.
fight against violence.
Yes, that I like the whole like I am a follower of Gandhi and King, and yeah, that whole thing.
Yes,
Yes,
foundation for such a belief is love. Yeah, yeah, he's got the
that whole speech is fantastic.
and try to say where do they keep his water dish 5 times fast. It's
Yeah,
very difficult. You wind up tripping over yourself a couple of times. So,
but hey,
but yes,
that's why he's paid to be an actor, and I'm not, and I'm doing a podcast.
that's why we're doing this for free for you, wonderful people.
Exactly. We're the
So
economy. We're the economy version. Is that what you're saying?
we are the economy version of that. Yes,
That's right.
exactly.
Yeah, the
So,
frugal version. Yes. I'm trying to class this up a little bit. All right. So this episode notable because hey, it introduced David L. Lander as Tim Pinkle.
oh, I remember something we talked about last time,
Yes,
Charles.
yes, we talked about
Yes.
way back when we actually got a recording out. Your awesome Lenny and the Squigtones album.
Well, we talked about that before with the one that actually did go through.
And we talked, but you're talking about Penny Marshall, of course.
I am talking about Penny Marshall. Yes, the last podcast we did, we talked about David O. Lander, who is famously Squiggy from Lenny and Squiggy from
Laverne and Shirley. Yeah.
And the week after we did that podcast, Penny Marshall passed away. I just wanted to shout out to Penny Marshall, tangentially related through David Lander to Twin Peaks and the world of David Lynch, because David Lander, again, On the Air.
Right.
So, I just
I really want to watch On the Air now. That you keep mentioning it. I keep wanting to watch it now again. I don't think I've watched it since it originally aired back in the 90s.
Oh yeah, see, I a few of them, so I only have a few of them, but we'll do what we can.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to acknowledge the life and career of Penny Marshall because she was amazing.
Yeah, she was. Obviously directed A League of Her Own. That's probably my favorite movie of hers.
Scarily enough, my favorite movie of hers is probably Jumpin' Jack.
Oh, with Whoopi Goldberg. Yeah. I've seen that, but it's not my favorite.
It's not her it's not the best movie she's done. It's not the best one, but I love it. I love it. And then after that, I would probably have to say, I mean, I love League of Their Own, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But after Jumping Jack Flash, I'd have to say Big is my favorite. Because I really, really like Big.
No, yeah, that's true. I forgot about Big.
Yeah. Even though Big, somebody, I forget who it was on Facebook, said that they wanted to see a sequel to Big that explains, whatever happened to Josh Baskin, the adult that skipped out on his rent and the rental fees for all those pinball machines and the trampoline. And
so what you're saying, we need a
happened to the company after they invested all that money into his comic books.
We need a big follow up when he's actually Tom Hanks's age.
Seriously, yes.
Right. And obviously Tom Hanks couldn't play him unless it's set like way in the future now.
Right. Oh, I'd love to also see a CW show, The Further Adventures of Zoltar. Just every week, Zoltar machine like screws up somebody's world.
Well, like every week, yeah, somebody like gets transformed by Zoltar.
Exactly, and then hilarity ensues. So anyway, I just wanted to. Yes. I wanted to shout out to Penny Marshall, and now.
Yes.
A shout out to the Super Dave.
Yeah, Super Dave Osborne.
Boss of the Super Dave Osborne.
Yeah.
So.
And then also Mean Gene Okerlund, because I'm a big guy from the 80s.
Oh, Gene. Yes, so that's right.
I really liked Mean Gene. He was cool.
Yes.
So, coined by Jesse Ventura back in the day.
I feel like there's got to be some relation from Twin Peaks to Curb Your Enthusiasm somewhere. I don't know where it is, but there's probably some sort of Super Dave tangential thing that we can do there. So
Yeah. So far, 2019,
But yes, David Lander
you're kind of not, kind of sucking with this right off
already.
the
Yeah,
bat.
you're
It's like
kind of sucking.
we're on day 4 of 2019, and yeah, we've lost
Oh,
great people.
trivia, Charles. Did you know that Super Dave, was Albert Brooks's brother?
I did know that because I saw his tweet about that.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Albert Brooks tweeted about that. So
Yeah, their real last is Einstein, which I think is hilarious.
right,
Because if your name is Einstein and you have a son, what else would you name him besides
exactly,
Albert?
exactly.
Come. All right, so David Lander
Yeah, so
in
David Lander.
Demons.
Yeah, but also we get the return of the mysterious Fumio Yamaguchi,
Fumio
and
Yamaguchi, who
yes, we'll talk about, and Lenny Von Dolan as Harold Smith in what is his, as far as the original series, is his last appearance. But of course, he
yes,
turns up in Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, and
yes, he does, and he has a much better time in that movie.
in prequel form.
He's the only one.
Yeah, he's the only one.
Yep.
And
What's interesting
he's one of the
about
happier characters in that one.
he's one of the he's one of the characters that gets out of that movie completely unscathed. I mean, we know what's going to happen to him in the future, but
Right.
it's pretty okay with him for that. Now, here's some interesting history behind the name Fumio Yamaguchi.
Okay.
And I don't
Did you
know
look
a
this up?
lot about Japanese history. Of course, I looked it up. I don't know a lot about Japanese history or Japanese names or anything like that. And Jeremy Belay, if you are listening tonight, please let us know if I am completely full of it on this one. Jeremy Belay, a friend of mine who has studied a lot of Japanese culture, is an occasional listener of our show, so hopefully he can chime in on this with me. But the name Fumio is somebody who, underneath a rough and ready facade, conceals a deeply emotive and hypertensive nature.
Okay.
And they hoped to appear and brave and assertive. And that can mean either glistening success or staggering failure. Okay.
Interesting.
So yeah, that's interesting. And then the name Yamaguchi means entrance to the mountain forest.
Interesting.
So whoever picked that name, Fumio Yamaguchi, was doing some research, I think.
I'm thinking Mark Frost probably came up with that.
Probably Mark Frost. Yes.
That would be where I would put my money on. Is
that
was
my
Mark Frost. But
yeah.
We also in this episode is notable because we get the on-screen debut of Gordon Cole.
Yes.
Got these things cranked up to the max.
Gordon Cole.
Yep.
Gordon Cole, of course, from Sunset Boulevard.
Right.
A character in Sunset Boulevard. And one of David Lynch's homages to classic Hollywood cinema.
Because of course it's David Lynch in classic
Gordon
Hollywood. That's his wheelhouse. That's his geeking.
That's his thing.
Yep,
that's his thing.
Just like we geek over Twin Peaks, he geeks over classic Hollywood.
Exactly. Well, I'm geeking at classic Hollywood right now.
I do as well, but yes.
When I finally saw, I actually saw Twin Peaks before I ever saw Sunset Boulevard.
I have still yet to see Sunset Boulevard. Believe it
or
not.
My God!
I know, right?
We're gonna have a party. We're gonna watch here.
Yes.
We're gonna watch Sunset Boulevard.
That would be fantastic to me.
Then we're gonna watch Invitation to Love.
I would.
That would be awesome.
But Chet, I have to know what happens to Chet.
Chet, exactly. So there's Sunset Boulevard. There's a character named Gordon Cole who, is just an executive trying to get Norma Desmond's car. There's really nothing much else about her, but that's about his character. But that's where the name comes from. Is from Sunset Boulevard.
Right. Also in this episode, we get Al Strobel as Philip Gerard, the one-armed man.
Always fabulous.
There's the one-armer now. And we get Ian Abercrombie as Tom Brockman, No relation to
Tom
Kent.
Brockman.
No relation to Kent, I'm presuming.
No relation to Kent, because
But
Kent is actually the last name is actually Brocklestein.
this is true.
So
This is true. Um, only you would know that, by the way.
anybody who's in that episode knows that.
Okay, well, obscure Simpsons trivia. You're the master of that.
I would just point out to everybody that Charles brought up The Simpsons, and I just I didn't bring it up.
I teed it up for you, and you just knocked it right out of the field. All right.
Set him up, and I knocked it back.
Exactly. It's like T-ball, just took a whack at it.
Yep.
But I've been a fan of Ian Abercrombie's ever since he was on the CW series. Well, then it was the WB, Birds of Prey, because he played Alfred Pennyworth on that show.
Right.
But he's also been in other stuff, primarily 90s television. He was on The Flash, the original Flash television show.
With John Wesley Shipp?
With John Wesley Shipp.
Right.
Babylon 5 he was on, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But recently, he's primarily known as doing the voice of Emperor Palpatine on Star Wars: The Clone Wars. So,
nice.
Clone Wars TV show, animated series.
Which I decided that I think there's some sort of unwritten contractual thing that your name has to be Ian to play that role, because
that was an observation that you made when we did our first version of this, and it still blows me out. It's like, you're absolutely right about that.
Yep. Because Ian McDiarmid playing Emperor Palpatine in Return of the Jedi, and retroactively
in the prequels,
in Empire Strikes Back, and then in the prequels as well.
Right.
I forget who it was in Empire Strikes Back. I forget that guy's name.
A lot of people forget that guy's name.
I don't think
I forget
it's Ian, which is why I think he's
right, exactly. So he had to be deleted. Okay.
Deleted. Deleted.
But so pretty great guest cast in this one. So before the universe tries to dismantle us once again, let's fire this bad boy up and hopefully get this episode out to everybody, because we know you've been patient, and thanks for waiting for us.
Thanks for putting up with us.
Yeah, thanks for putting up with my nonsense. I appreciate that.
Thanks for putting up with Skype recorders nonsense. Thank you very much.
Hooray for technology, right, guys?
Yeah. Seriously.
All right, so as you can imagine, we're on the 1 minute 31 second mark. And right as we fade to black. So if you have your episode all queued up, nice and pretty, or if not, now's the time. And we'll wait for you. Okay, you're back? Great. See, it's the miracle of podcasts.
A miracle of pause button.
And the pause button, exactly. So everybody ready? We'll count down. 3, 2, 1, doink.
And here we have a very Freudian shot of flowers.
Yeah, rather intimate look.
The rather intimate look, yes.
Harold's doing his Wolverine impression, apparently. Snicked.
Oh, so terrible. I wonder sometimes if orchids were chosen for Harold for their comparison to anatomy. Because Harold kind of doesn't have any other.
Oh, you mean like as far as like his sexual kind of substitution because of
something he can care for and tend to.
It's delicate and needs lots of attention.
Yes, but he doesn't have to leave the house or anything like that.
It needs to be in a nice warm place.
Yep. Frankly,
so here we have James busting in to save Donna and Maddie from Psycho Harold, and they leave the diary, the very thing that they came there to get.
Well, and this is one of the things that really bothers me about Donna when it comes to Harold, is she runs away and she says, "He's not coming. He won't. He's afraid." So she's obviously used that to her advantage. She's using someone's vulnerability and their mental illness to her advantage, which I don't want.
But she didn't have any kind of game plan about going past him to get to the outside.
No, no, she doesn't have. She, when you came in here, didn't you have a plan for getting out?
Right, exactly. No.
That kind of thing. And Harold has been completely betrayed. And the one thing that he promised Laura that he would do, which is keep her diary safe,
Yeah.
he's been able to do.
Harold apparently just found out that Padme Amidala died. No. Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you noticed this, Charles, but when the diary fell to the ground, you could tell that it was just basically a copy of the diary that you could buy at the bookstore.
I
Like
did.
with its little gold facsimile of the lock rather than
Well,
actually
it
being
didn't have
locked.
the cover with Laura's picture on
No,
it.
it didn't have the cover, but it still had,
It
a
had
lot
that kind of paperback feel look to it. Yes.
it really looked, I still don't think that the book house can hold that many people who showed up on that many
No,
motorcycles.
unless there's I don't know, maybe it's bigger on the inside. Who knows? But
It's some sort of TARDIS, Oscar the Grouch's,
very dimensionally
and
transcendental.
yes, dimensionally transcendent, exactly. And this is the amount of trust that they put into
Yep.
the medical community around here that we're going to bring Audrey to the book house and
Yep.
not the hospital after
Right.
heroin overdose.
Right. Exactly. So Cooper, with his FBI training, of course, then he'd have to admit that how did you find her?
I didn't go to I didn't go to Canada, and there's not a
Exactly.
madam of a whorehouse that's dead because of this.
Yeah. I didn't violate my
Nobody,
jurisdiction. Nope.
nobody stabbed anyone. I don't know. Emery Battis. I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because 2 people are dead from
Yeah.
this trying to get Audrey out of harm's way.
And say what you will, but even drugged out, Audrey's eye makeup is completely on point.
It's perfect. Yes, that even when she's been force fed heroin, they still took time to do her eyes, and she looks perfect. But she's
we should all look that good when we're strung out on heroin.
If we could all look as good
Yep.
as Sherilyn Fenn looks on her worst day, we would be the most beautiful people ever. Seriously.
Heroin chic.
Oh, no, no. But, she's got boobs and hips. She can't be heroin chic.
That's a good point.
Yep. Oh,
So Audrey kind of pierces through the void and realizes that her special agent is there to protect her.
I feel so bad for her, because she can't even. I mean, you and I, if something like that happened to us when we were kids, our parents would be worried, sick, and we would be so excited to go home to our families.
Right.
And Audrey doesn't even have that. She's got Agent Cooper, and that's about it.
Well, yeah, because, her brother obviously isn't in a position because of his medical condition to do anything about it.
Right, he's not in a position to protect her or to understand what happened.
Right. Yeah. And then her mother is completely self-absorbed enough that she's not going to do anything about it.
She's 80% self-absorbed and then 19% dealing with Johnny, so that 1% that she has left over for Audrey usually just gets taken up with drinking.
Right, exactly.
So
seems to be a common thread with a lot of moms
you guys,
in this town.
Any idea how you almost ruined a man's life?
Yep. Here, let me bite your neck like a vampire.
Yeah.
So here's Harry going through the worst high school yearbook ever.
Well, I want to know who they're looking for, because this looks like a mugshot book from 1958.
Well, and here's the funny part. Okay, all those mugshots, they don't have names with them if you look at them closely. Right here.
They don't have names.
They're blank.
Yeah, that's true.
They're blank. So how could you identify them? By memory?
Maybe this is the book that they show to people.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about that. Maybe there's a second book.
A second ledger.
A second ledger.
Before.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah.
See, we didn't observe that the first time.
No, so maybe that's the one that they show to people, so you don't know their names, so you don't get anything in your head.
Exactly.
Because if I had seen that was Jean Renault, I'd been like, probably was him, because that guy's horrible. And
yeah, so now Cooper's come to the realization that maybe that wasn't legally the best move I could have done.
he should not blame himself for what happened to Audrey. That was all Emery Battis and Blackie.
Yeah.
Audrey's just trying to do the right thing and figure out what's going on. Audrey
It wasn't his
has
job to
realized,
babysit Audrey to keep her
yeah,
from
that's true.
going to One-Eyed
She's
Jacks.
as we said before, she is 18, and he has made it
Yeah.
painfully clear that he knows she's 18.
Yeah.
The thing is, Audrey in this situation has realized her father's role in Laura's life, I think.
Right.
And so she wants to
Tink.
find out what happened to Laura, but she also is trying to get some dirt on her father and maybe take her father down a peg.
Right. Although
So
I
she's got her
think
own
she
agenda.
learned a little bit more than she was hoping for.
Yeah, she's got her own agenda, so she,
Yeah.
should not blame himself for what happened to her,
And
for sure.
speaking of agendas, Cooper is meeting up with here Ben Horn, Father of the Year.
Yeah, Benjamin Horn, who here is
maybe the second Father of the Year, runner up.
Oh, see,
runner up.
uh,
See, you know why? You see why I'm going with that.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, he's
considering
100% her father.
Right.
Benjamin Horn is 100% Audrey's father. And I literally can't say that about anybody else in this series now that I'm thinking about it.
This is true.
Spoilers.
Yeah, we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. So, he's very excited that he got his money back, but he has yet to ask Agent Cooper where the hell Audrey is.
Right. And Cooper had asked him basically like, well, we found Audrey at One-Eyed Jacks, and he's kind of like feigning ignorance about that. Like, One-Eyed Jacks, what is that?
I may have heard some of the fellows talk about that, but it's not anything I'm aware of. Yeah.
And now here's Ben trying to act like, oh, I guess I'll be Mr. Concerned Father now. Or be, like, regretful.
Yeah.
About what happened.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure that my dad and your dad would have, like, shoved Agent Cooper out of the way to come find us.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Hugs.
God. You are so insincere. It's just gross.
And as I mentioned last time, he smells like cheap department store cologne and sub sandwiches.
Brie. Oh, brie and baguette sandwiches.
Yeah, brie and baguette sandwiches. Yes. Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. He's like, okay, well, I have my money. Where do I hide this from everybody? And what am I going to do to that idiot Hank Jennings, who failed at everything I sent him to? Yep. So, okay, so here we have
Leo's homecoming.
Leo's back at home in his
to me, my X-Men.
To his great-great-grandmother's wheelchair.
Right.
For some reason.
Old wheelchair.
Yeah.
With his plaid blanket, obviously bought with Dick Tremaine's 20% employee discount at Horn's department store.
Seriously, well, we got two people in plaid jackets. We've got Leo in a plaid blanket. We've got a plaid sofa behind him. But everybody just wants to match.
Yep.
Oh, and I think Bobby's tie is plaid also.
Yeah, and Tom Brockman's jacket is plaid.
Seriously, I said this last time. I think he looks.
Shelley's jacket is plaid here.
I'm telling you, everybody's jacket is plaid.
It's Plaid City. It's like, dead men don't wear plaid.
Plaid City. We sell plaid stuff, and that's all. But Charles, you and I growing up in, or not necessarily me growing up and you living here in Columbus.
Yeah.
In the 80s.
I didn't live here in the 80s in Columbus.
I thought you came here for college in like 88.
No.
Actually, that's right. You went to college in Florida.
I went to college in Florida. Well, first I went to college for a couple years in Kent State. Then I transferred to University of Central Florida. But I lived in Medina outside of Akron.
Okay.
So,
but see, here in Columbus, we had a beloved sportscaster named Jimmy Crum.
Right, I know him. I'm aware.
Oh, you know him? Yeah. Well, yes. He had the loudest jackets you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so now we're finding out that Shelley is only getting $700 a month.
Wah wah.
And she thought she's going to be getting like $5,000. Yeah. So it's equipment fees, medical maintenance costs, administrative fees, taxes. And
You see what I have to work with here, Mr.
this is what I have to
Napier.
work with here. Yeah. So it's going to be
And Bobby is not happy. Bobby's fuming a little bit that his
that's the
great
thing.
insurance scam plan has gone straight down the tubes. And now
And
they're
I'm
stuck
sorry,
with Leo.
$5,000 a month is not enough to clean Leo Johnson's poopy diapers.
Nope.
I'm sorry. It's just not going to work. It's just not going to work.
It's
And
like,
he is in there
well,
plotting his revenge. I just know it.
we're just gonna have to sell him to the circus.
Oh, that's one place for him. That would work. Okay, now we have Donna finally going to the police.
The thing she should have done from the get-go.
But she should have done, a week ago.
Day one.
When she first found the doohickey in...
Yes.
You know what she should also be saying? There's also this guy that's a shut-in, but he is, writing down the sordid details of the lives of teenage girls.
If I was Harry, I would put her up on an obstruction of justice charge.
Well, I think he should.
Interference with the investigation, something like that.
Because there's no charge for being a spoiled little bitchy brat and taking advantage of mentally ill people charge. Even though there should be.
Now, Zan, don't hold back. You should tell me how you really feel about Donna.
I just don't like people who...
Oh, here's Gordon Cole.
People who take advantage of people's mental illnesses. It's not nice. It's Gordon Cole!
Gordon Cole!
Oh, look how young David Lynch looks. He's adorable.
Yeah. The pompadour was not nearly as elevated as it is today.
No, nowhere near.
This is like mini pompadour.
Little mini pompadour, yeah.
The Diet Coke of pompadour. 1 calorie pompadour, not pompadour enough.
In his wonderfully bottom of the line, government issued, probably hearing it. Okay, so here we have
important clues because Albert isn't in this episode.
Because Albert had something else to do.
Right, exactly.
And yes, the fibers that they found with Cooper were vicuna, which I don't know if you guys know about this. That's usually found in very fancy pants, clothing, that type of thing.
You mean like department stores where someone might be shopping a lot?
Well, I think more like department stores in Seattle would carry that.
Right. High-end department stores.
Yeah, not necessarily.
There's the one armor now.
Not necessarily.
Yes, that was Donna sticking her nose in where it doesn't belong.
Yes, it was.
Try not to be thrilled.
Oh, yeah, you're so worried.
Yep. I've been so having sleepless nights over this. Yes.
Yeah.
About the money. Oh, I mean you. Yes, you. Not the money. Not the money.
And I'm saying these really disgusting things to you because people are listening. Oh, and I'm on to you. Don't tell the FBI man that I run a horror house, sweetie.
Yep. We're all going to play innocent, and everybody's going to play along, right, honey?
Yeah,
It would be a real shame if you ended up back on heroin, honey.
I saw so much, a.k.a. you, Daddy. We'll sort it out, a.k.a. I'll pay you to shut your mouth.
You just tried to be all skeevy on me. If there was a way, she really should have pulled out the cat mask that she had at this particular moment and put it over her face.
That would have been so great.
Wouldn't that be the drop the mic moment right there? You remember this, funny. Daddy? Looks like a comfy blanket, though.
It does. It looks like it's very warm and cozy.
Yep.
It's very comforting. So I don't
Yep.
know. Is that a Vicuna coat? I don't think so.
Nope. Maybe we could all ride together. Yeah, so that way you won't have a chance to tell Cooper anything about me.
Yeah, that I have a whorehouse.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, Nadine, all excited to come home from school to no parents but a boy at the house.
Right. And riding the adrenaline wave.
Riding the adrenaline wave. Yeah, and
Surfing the adrenaline wave.
seriously.
Bouncing on the furniture like a 3-year-old. Oh, like you just broke my spine. And then she pounces on him like a cat. And Ed apparently just shat
Oh,
himself.
oh, seriously. He's been
Meanwhile, Josie just got done banging Jonathan.
I don't think she meant to.
No, I'm sure it wasn't like willingly, but
No, I do not think it was willing. Absolutely. And she's got to go back to Hong Kong
right.
and face the music. So it's
Yep. Here's a one-way ticket to Seattle, Hong Kong, with a short layover in New York, New Jersey.
yeah.
Because all layovers end up in Newark, New Jersey, no matter what part of the country they're on.
Goodness.
Thomas Eckert
Yeah.
mentioned setting up more stuff.
Thomas Eckhart, I can't
Yeah.
wait.
David Warner. Sark himself.
Yeah, Sark himself, the devil himself.
Yep. Josie, your arrangements never work out. Have you realized this?
Yeah, Josie, this is not gonna
Just quit.
Yeah, this is not gonna happen.
Nope.
So
you're surrounded yourself with shadier than shady people.
yeah, you're not doing a very good job about this kind of stuff.
Nope.
And so it's not exactly but then again, I
you're
think you can
shocked that
probably
this
get
doesn't
out of
work out.
this. I mean, you're pretty crafty. I think you can get out of this.
Right. Your crime kung fu is not as powerful. Oh, meanwhile, the show just started over with the Twin Peaks theme.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure where this is. Yeah, here we have the
It's Crystal Lake.
Oh, that would make a lot of sense actually. That would seriously be a
Now,
that would explain a lot of
now wouldn't that be a great crossover?
Yeah, that would be a thing because you're thinking about like Leland going
Yeah.
camping at age 14 and something really bad happening.
Bob versus Jason, the final chapter.
Yep.
I'd pay to see that.
I would. Oh my gosh! And Bob would of course win out of supernatural beings.
Exactly. Well,
totally
there's some argument that Jason himself is also supernatural because he keeps coming back from the dead.
Yep.
So that could be a pretty interesting fight.
Be a good fight though.
It would be a good fight.
Yeah. And
I
think Bob.
Now I want to see that fight.
I was never particularly fond of the fact that in the whole Freddy versus Jason thing, Jason won. So I've always been kind of ticked off at that. So I'd really like Bob to win this one.
Well, because Freddy was the more imaginative killer, but Jason was the unstoppable killer.
Well, that's the thing is that, Freddy can get you in your dreams, but Jason apparently transcends
Yeah.
uh,
All laws of
time and
physics.
space. Yeah, it's bizarre. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And here we have
Yeah.
teen angst.
Yeah. James feels like he has to apologize for leading her on, Maddie on.
Well, I don't know. I think it's. I don't know if I don't know. Did he lead her on by holding her hand in the thing?
Mm, well, he made all googly eyes at her during the song recording.
Well,
Yeah.
when you look exactly like his dead girlfriend.
Right in front of his current girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
So James was not cool then.
Well, and I think, out of everybody who had a bad night that night, I think Maddie had the worst night.
That's true. Um,
So.
now she's saying that she's going to be leaving Twin Peaks, but sadly not going back to Missoula, Montana.
Montana!
But we'll find out that next time.
We're going to, spoilers once again.
Yes.
Spoilers. Yeah, so.
Spoilers for a 28-year-old TV show.
Yeah, I think that's the.
I think the statute of limitations on that expired.
Statute of limitations, yeah.
I think that's fair.
More plaid. Look at all the plaid in this town. See,
it's twin
it's
plaid.
like everybody's starting to figure out that Benjamin Horne is no damn good.
To crime.
Gentlemen, to evil.
To crime.
So yeah, I just everybody's figuring out that Benjamin Horne is no damn good.
Right.
So
I see what you did.
She's coming to collect, and now she's she's telling him like, listen, I need my money like right this second,
right? Because she has to skip town. Yeah, she's got to skip town, and he wants that deed or the insurance agreement signed by Pete Martell.
Which is, I don't like this deal for a lot of reasons. First of all,
yeah,
pretty much everybody in the town is going to be out of work because of this.
Right.
Second of all, I don't like Josie screwing over Pete.
Which it just seems like a betrayal because Pete was like one of the few people actually nice to her.
Yeah, he's one of the few people that like genuinely likes her.
He stood up for her against his wife.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't want anything out of her, and I mean, maybe he does, but he's not going to try anything. I don't think he's that gross. Harry is like her boyfriend, so
right.
That's a mutually beneficial thing. But he just likes her.
Well, Josie, if you notice, obviously is a user of people. She uses them to get her what she wants. Ben wants to be a player of people. Like he thinks he's the big deal maker.
And yeah, he's like I said, he's
read way too many Donald Trump books. Let's put it that way.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, seriously, the art of the deal.
Yeah. You see how that worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, that's been a job.
And here's Josie and kind of getting off on the fact that, hey, she and Ben have enough dirt on each other to have this impasse.
I think the only person who's an idiot enough to do business with him at this point is going to be Hank Jennings.
Right. The berries side by side. Yeah. All excited.
Oh, yeah, seriously. She needs cash and she needs it now. And she's thinking she's also probably going to have to kill somebody.
Yep.
I wonder what that's all about. I mean, she's scared, but she's pretty cunning. I think she can probably figure something out.
And that's kind of like her arrogance, which becomes her downfall, is that she thinks she can play in this league, but she's always outmaneuvered.
Yeah, I love that bit where they both let go of the paperwork at the same time.
Yes, synchronized.
I don't understand.
Yeah,
Why does anybody think in these movies and TV shows that a check is worth the paper it's printed on?
right. Because you could just call immediately and cancel it.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with anything.
Right. Just
I
okay.
mean,
Phoning the bank right now. Boom.
until I get a briefcase full of like 20s,
Yeah.
I don't trust anything.
But to be fair, that he just endorsed that check. So there's nothing. It would have to be Yamaguchi who canceled the check.
But no, it's Benjamin Horton's money. It's not the.
No, no, it wasn't deposited. He just endorsed over the check that Fumio Yamaguchi gave him for $5 million.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So, and we know that check is no damn good.
Right, exactly. But Ben
But
doesn't know.
still,
Ben doesn't know that. Ben thinks it's legit.
yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, well, Ben
Yeah.
hasn't figured out,
Yeah.
that Fumio Yamaguchi has a secret.
Fumio has secrets.
He's filled with secrets.
He's filled with secrets. So yeah, Bobby and Shelley now making love, or like not really making love, but kind of like making out in front of Leo, who creepily watches behind a pair of sunglasses.
Yeah, this is just weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen, Face Off, but people wake up from comas and kill you all the
Exactly.
time, apparently. So,
Maybe he's auditioning for a Risky Business sequel.
oh God. Please don't make me watch Leo in his underwear.
Dun 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
He kind of wheels across the floor in his wheelchair,
Uh-huh.
in his underwear.
With the hat on and new shoes and underpants, and
Yes.
that's it.
That's funny.
That would be hilarious. Yeah, see, this is just really strange because
Creepy Leo is creepy.
I don't know. I mean, I can understand wanting to get back at Leo, but this is a weird way of
Dun dun
doing it.
dun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would freak me out too.
I just not. Oh my God! Somebody do the dishes, please.
I know, right?
Seriously.
We keep waiting for Leo to do it. Oh, that's right.
This is where we live, Shelley. Yeah. Oh,
it's all good, bro. I love the fact that they took the trouble to slick his hair back into that pony and pull it right back in that ponytail, just like he likes it.
Uh-huh. Yep. Make it just look perfect. There's like a perfect mullet under there too. Oh, Leo's cake.
It's slapstick comedy time.
Wonk.
Face plant.
Good on Eric Del Rey for this one. This is a tough scene for him to do.
Right.
A good thing we didn't light the candles.
You have to wonder if that was the first take, don't you?
Yeah, you can see like where he's like, you know what, you get one chance to do this.
Exactly.
We don't want
We're running out of cakes. You have to do it this time.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, I love Cole
Agent Dale Cooper.
Dale Cooper's relationship. It's adorable. It's like this ersatz father son, older brother, younger brother.
They're FBI bros.
Yeah, mentor.
Blue Rose bros.
Blue Rose bros. Oh my God.
Say that 3 times fast.
I think we just started something horrible. Oh. So, yeah. Can I talk to you in private even though I'm never in private because I can't not scream everything I say?
And apparently I'm not self-aware enough to know the volume of my own voice.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But that's the gag.
That's the joke.
That's my office, guys. Yeah. Give me back my office.
Yep. I'm still,
And Harry is still eating.
I think he is the one eating those 90 boxes of donuts every day.
You totally buy my theory now that it's Harry.
That it's all for Harry.
Because every time we see him in the station, he's with Cooper or he's eating or both.
See, he's, he knows Cooper. He knows he's not sleeping. He knows he's having weird dreams because he knows how Cooper operates. So, no.
Cooper's trying to convince Gordon that he's like not frayed and like burned out.
Yep. Exactly. Up. Here we go. We're going to start. Yeah. If this is a private conversation, it's
Yes.
not. So don't even try.
I just want you to know we're all rooting for you.
Just want to let you. I just want to tell you both that we're all counting on you.
Yeah, that's it.
So Cooper's been shot, and now he's getting chess-related death threats.
The chess deal. It's a chess deal.
So this is not a good time to be Cooper.
Pawn to king 4, by the way, in case anybody's wondering. And actually, interestingly enough, I actually started playing this game. Like, I had my chessboard, and I was actually kind of following the chess moves.
Oh, did you? Were you?
They were doing it for just like like about maybe 4 to 5 weeks, and I was kind of getting into it, and then they just dropped that.
They kind of did, yeah.
But I was kind of disappointed because I kind of wanted to see if that was an actual chess game being played, and for a little while it was.
Yeah, that was and they were trying to find a stalemate so they wouldn't have any other deaths.
And see, that's what I thought would have been cool is like once we got to that point where Pete Martell is involved, I thought it would have been cool to see how we got there.
How we got to the stalemate, yeah. But then things just went crazy.
And yes, I know that's really geeky.
But no, I think that's awesome. That's dedicated. That's not geeky, that's dedicated.
So here we are with our latest round of Bob or Leland.
Yes, and I am of the opinion that this is full-on Bob right here. And the reason I'm of that opinion is because
I think it's Bob with this stuffed animal fur that he puts into the pocket of his interior lining of his coat.
That corrects. I love that move.
Yeah,
I love that move. It's just so obviously I'm not quite right, but I look like, the part.
No, we're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
How are you? Well, the reason I think that this is mostly Bob is because what he's talking about, what his plan is that he's outlining right here, is horrible. It's a horrible thing.
But it's what Leland is supposed to do. So he's kind of, I think Bob is just drawing either from Leland's memories or he is at least learned enough that maybe he can pull it off. I don't know, but
yeah,
or he's letting Leland just out to play just a little tiny bit here.
Well, I think he's learned a lot from Leland's base of knowledge, but remember, everything Leland learned in college, Bob was there for as well.
Right. Or they're just some kind of hybrid entity at this point.
Yeah. Right, exactly. So he's been there since Leland was 15.
But now they're fully merged at this point.
Right, Leland's career, Leland's education. Bob has been there for that. Yeah, I don't believe you've met my assistant, this guy who just blew into town like this afternoon.
Right. It's that awkward moment when your girlfriend is like running away with a guy from the Chinese triad.
Oh, jeez. There's not much you can do to help her either. And
but Harry makes the fatal mistake. He tells her that he loves her.
Well, and I know he does, and I think there's a little part of Josie that loves him too, but she's done some crazy bad stuff in her time.
But he still believes in her.
He doesn't know what she's been through.
No, and just that whatever it is, it's not important. I love her, she loves me, and we're going to be happy together forever.
Right.
But sadly, that's not the case.
I still can't get over that giant saw over the door. I mean, that is just...
It's a guillotine waiting to happen, isn't it?
It is a...
Shunk.
Guillotine waiting to happen, or some sort of... Yeah, that is not going to... That is a story that does not end well.
It's asking for trouble. Yeah. It's the sword of Damocles. It's the saw of Damocles. That's it.
The saw of Damocles is hanging over everybody's head in the hallway.
Hashtag saw of Damocles.
Hashtag saw of Damocles. Yep. That's... that is...
Well, I like you too. Walks out the door.
Yeah, you're nice.
Yeah, and stuff. Your badge is pretty.
You look nice.
So here we have Ben sitting down with Mr. Tojimura.
Mr. Tojimura.
Tojimura-san.
Yep.
Yeah,
Who
so,
has,
and Tojimura's like, where's my check,
yeah,
biatch?
what'd you do with that?
I want my $2.
This is a small community. I don't know anything about you, Mr. Tojimura. Yeah, there's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
So, how did she come up with this idea, I wonder? You know?
She?
To,
What?
oh, yeah, that's a guy. I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this character. He just breezed into town with a bunch of money trying to get part of the Ghostwood project.
Totally on the level.
Yeah, why would you let somebody just come into town that you don't know anything about and give you a check for $5 million and think, oh, hey, I have $5 million now?
Not at all Piper Laurie sized.
No, that doesn't look anything like Piper Laurie.
No,
with,
not a bit.
Fake eyebrows and a fake mustache and a wig. Yeah.
Fake teeth. Yeah, no.
Yeah, and glasses and a really racist accent.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not terribly. Is it racist or is it stereotypical?
I think it's both.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing. If you're gonna
if you're gonna go all out, well, there you go.
And if you're gonna hide in plain sight, you got to really be something completely different.
Right.
And
now a lovely little rendition of "Getting to Know You" by Ray Wise.
Oh, always fantastic. He knows how to work a crowd.
He does, and he has a really great voice for it too.
He has a fabulous voice. There's nothing Ray Wise cannot do.
He's very natural at this.
Whether or not this is appropriate is a different question, is a different story, but yeah, he can pretty much do whatever he wants.
It's like, you're embarrassing me.
So I'm pretty sure you're embarrassing both of us, frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it turns into this awkward duet. Which is funny because Richard Beymer, of course, who plays Ben Horne, was in what movie? West Side Story.
West Side Story. Along with?
That would be Dr. Jacoby.
Russ Tamblyn,
yep.
Yep. I do enjoy watching that movie and seeing the two of them.
And Pete is hilarious at this scene.
Oh,
Jack Nance is just perfection.
He's like, hey, what's happening?
We found out that Pete Martell is apparently a big musicals buff.
Yes, he is a big musicals buff. Have you ever seen, Charles, The Return of the Pink Panther?
Yes, I love the Peter Sellers Pink Panther movies. I have them all.
The Return is my favorite one.
Right.
But
I get where you're coming from with this.
Yeah, you get where I'm going with this. And Christopher Plummer,
right?
At the very end of the movie, when it's found out that his wife is in fact a jewel thief, not him.
Right.
He's trying to prove his innocence, and
because he was originally the Phantom.
Yeah, he was the Phantom, and so he's trying to prove his innocence because someone has heisted the Pink Panther, the famous diamond, and he saw the security footage from the night that it was stolen. And
how about a nice cold pint of milk?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to a bar and drink milk in a mug because I am that kind of guy.
Well, Pete is that cool that he can go into a bar, order a pint of milk, because that's how cool he is. That's how he rolls. That's how Pete Martell rolls.
Yeah, exactly. He's that awesome. So anyway, he says to Catherine Schell, who plays his wife, she says, how did you know it was me? And he says, well, there's something about a wife, even with a beard. So
that's a great line. Although my favorite of those is the Pink Panther Strikes Again. Because
is that the one with the death ray?
That's the one with the death ray. Herbert Lom goes completely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and that's why it's awesome to me. I love that movie. Yeah,
that one is really bizarre.
And that's why I love about it. and it also has the best Clouseau Kato fight, I think.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Now I do love the one where from Return, where he goes flying into the other lady's apartment and she just beats him with his own baguette.
Yeah.
And that is not a euphemism for anything. It's literally a loaf of bread that he brought home from the store that she whacks him with.
So here we have Al Strobel now as Mike.
Yeah, he's a little bit easier to play,
Yeah.
Mike
Very
or
and very
Philip.
theatrical in his elocution and his presence, demeanor here.
Oh yeah, he's very
gesturing theatrically.
Mm-hmm.
He is host to me.
And that's the nice thing about Mike, is that Mike kind of explains the things about Bob that we're not going to get from Bob, because we're not quite sure who Bob is yet.
But it's coming soon. Stay
sure
tuned.
He's inhabiting somebody.
Yeah. It's like, that cannot be revealed until 27 years from now in a Showtime revival series.
Oh, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, and yeah, seriously.
I love that delivery. That he wears a smile. Everybody run.
Yeah. Do you understand the parasite? Yeah, we get it. Well, some of us needed to learn what parasite meant.
Yes. Look up, like remoras with sharks.
That's true. That's very true. And see, this is the thing that's gross about Bob. He feeds on the fears and the pleasures.
Right. So, because he's a fear vampire, essentially, is what he is.
He's like a fear vampire, but he's also going to feed on you and make you do terrible things.
Right.
Like terrible sexual things that are against your will.
Of futures past, the magician longs to see
one chance
out between two worlds. Fire, walk with me. Great delivery by Al Strobel there.
Oh yeah, and where have we heard that before?
Exactly.
Like every week on our podcast.
Exactly. It's our mantra. We say to
every
ourselves.
Couple of weeks. When we actually can get our equipment to work.
I don't know if I ever told you this, but when this show was airing, I was at the University of Central Florida.
And I don't even like looking at his drawing, Charles. Not even at his drawing.
But anyway, so like just to freak people out, I wrote that phrase on the chalkboard. Like nobody was there, and I was waiting for somebody to come in and see that phrase on the chalkboard.
Is awesome.
Just again, and I wish I could have seen the reaction to it, but I just wrote it and walked off.
This is the funny thing about my high school, is because I saw the movie Fire Walk with Me in high school, and
which is a great high school date movie.
It was a big group of us that went to it, so it was like most of my high school went to see that movie, so nobody would have been freaked out by it. It was the thing. So.
I can top that.
Nice. Okay.
That's the first movie that I took Lori to when her first time out here in Columbus.
Wow, and she still married you?
I know, right?
That's amazing.
How is that possible?
That's amazing. I don't know, though. If you had said to her,
it was love, true love.
Seriously. If you had said to her, like, hey, my parents own a restaurant kind of like that one, I would have been like, all right, let's go get pie.
Yeah. So next time we're going to go to the Great Northern Hotel to find out how, look for Bob there in the house with many similar rooms, but occupied by different souls night after night.
That's the thing. He's only there like a couple hours a day.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, I get ahead of myself.
Exactly. He just pops in every so often.
Yep.
So that's our episode, everybody. We got through it. Now.
Yay, we did it.
So, hope you enjoyed it. At least we hopefully won't have to watch it a third time. Not that it's Twin Peaks, so it's not like horrible for us to do that.
I'll watch it like 100 times,
but we want to keep coming up with fresh material, so that's the tricky part. All right. So what's your rating for this one?
I'm going to do 8.5 mugs of milk.
Very nice. Pints.
And I give it 8.5 because it loses some points for, Harold getting screwed over.
Right.
Because that's just mean. It's like I said, I understand Harold's a little bit weird, but he's mentally ill and there's no need to torment the mentally ill and take advantage of them.
No.
And but this episode is like setting up a bunch of stuff, and it's all going to come to
Right.
fruition pretty quickly. And it's setting up some. And I think I've said this before about the Wyndham Earl storyline. It's kind of a slow burn. Like, it sort of starts out with this
Yeah.
letter, and then who was Wyndham
Well,
Earl, and
they teased it because they knew they had
yeah,
that eventually, because the network wants us to wrap up the Laura Palmer mystery.
right. Because we can't. I mean, and the Laura Palmer mystery should not go on
Right.
for decades. I mean,
I kind of
it's
think
gonna keep
I
going.
kind of in agreement with the network on that one,
I am 100% in agreement with the network on that one,
because it shouldn't have been
because
dragged out.
right, people are going to lose interest. And I think we've talked about this before, where you have that teetering on the cusp of finding out something for too long, people
Right.
just stop caring.
Right.
And
It's cool up to a certain point, and then people just like, okay, wrap it up already.
yeah, people just stop caring about it. And so
Yeah.
you have to wrap it up, and you have to move on. But at the same time,
You have to have
you don't
something
want this.
you have to have something to replace it, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what's great about Twin Peaks when it does that is that part of part of the thing about Twin Peaks is that it's a mysterious town with all kinds of weird crap going on.
Right.
But at the same time, I think if you were to have a show that just goes from one murder to another murder to another murder or something like that, just weird things that are going on in Twin Peaks that is just all Twin Peaks related,
Right.
or like if Bob was moving around, it would get a little bit.
Tedious.
I don't want to say, you know, hard to believe, because Twin Peaks does require a lot of suspension of disbelief.
Right.
But it just becomes sort of like, oh, come on.
Right.
Seriously, this one town and now everybody's going to get murdered? Like, really?
It is kind of hard to say, like, to approach this with that kind of suspension of disbelief like you're talking about, because on the one hand, you have this surreal show, but you have it to approach it with this kind of real life.
Right, but there's this
Like,
reality human
yes,
element to it.
like at
That
least to the point of believability.
exactly, at least to the point of, this, only so much can happen to the people in this town. So
Right.
when they realized that they wanted to keep the show going, but they needed to stop the Laura
Yeah.
story, they started adding things like Wyndham Earl, who is there for Cooper.
Okay.
And it just happens to benefit him that Cooper's in this weird supernatural place.
Right.
But it's like Cooper's bringing in a threat rather than the threat being part of the town. And there are things that the town is going to have to deal with, like some other deaths. And there are some other bad elements coming in from the Josie story. We're going to see some bad elements. And from from the Leo standpoint, there's going to be a bit of a threat coming in from there. Right. But the fact that they're coming from the threats are starting to come from the outside.
Yeah, more external threats
are more external. I think is a really good way to keep going with that, because if you kept it all in the town, like if next year's homecoming queen dies, it's just going to be it's going to get stale.
Yeah. And silly.
Twin Peaks doesn't get stale for that reason. And we're going to have other drama about, Jean Renault and what's going on there, and the fact that Cooper is going to get in trouble for going across the border and killing people in a whorehouse.
Yeah, we'll talk about this eventually. I think the problem, though, with the Wyndham Earl mystery, in my opinion, was that it wasn't kicked into overdrive soon enough. Because we had those 4 episodes, and we'll talk about that eventually, where we take that detour with James.
That literal detour.
Literal detour, and this storyline that nobody cared about.
And that was, and I don't know why.
And if we had gone into the Wyndham Earl storyline sooner, I think it would have helped, I think.
Maybe. Or maybe we just wanted to. But the thing was, is that felt like a way to keep James around.
Right.
More than it was, because they could have done a bunch of different things, because there could have been more with Eckhart, there could have been more with Josie, there could have been more with John Justice Wheeler. John Justice Wheeler could have come in earlier.
Right.
Um,
We could pull it.
Benjamin Horde could have gone crazy earlier. There are all kinds of things with that, but I think that was more of a way to keep James in our forefront. And I don't know why that didn't amount to anything. Why James just sort of fizzled, and we get a postcard from him in one of the last episodes, and that's kind of all we hear.
Right.
So
Just the execution wasn't
yeah,
handled as well as it could have been.
right. I don't. Of course, I don't always preface my criticisms with like, what amazing, groundbreaking show have I written?
Exactly.
But
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's obviously very easy to armchair quarterback this,
yeah, very
especially with 28 years mileage.
right,
But
right.
it's not the years; it's the mileage. And the but the point is that distance kind of gives you that perspective of like, well, it could have been like what it like you kind of get a better idea of how it should have been handled, and even though there was nothing really you could have done about it.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know how it should have been handled. I just know that there's a element of this that I didn't enjoy.
Right. You just know that
And
something could have been done differently, I think.
yes, yes,
Then obviously
or
because
just even omit it.
the way things turned out. Yeah.
If James is going to go, if James had to go through what he went through, I would have liked it to have amounted to more for him.
Right.
And it doesn't particularly, and even in the return, it doesn't particularly. That storyline doesn't really do anything for James.
Nope.
So,
but as for
anyway,
my rating.
Yeah, what's your rating, Charles?
My rating is completely in sync with you.
Nice.
8.5 homecoming party kazoos.
That's a good one. Or face cakes.
Yeah. I was going to do hearing aids too, if you had taken the kazoos.
Nice. Nice.
But yeah, I think homecoming party kazoos because
that works.
Yeah, that was good. So next time, obviously, we're going to talk about lonely souls.
So many lonely souls.
Solitaire.
So many lonely souls.
Yes, and I'm a lonely soul. And we'll find out what happens to Harold Smith, tragically.
I don't want to talk about that.
And
that's like a Judy subject.
Yep. And we get one of my favorite sequences, even though it's really horrifying, at the end of this episode. But it's like so well done. And it's one of my favorites.
Like with golf clubs?
Well, like with seeing the return of Julie Cruz.
Oh, that. Okay, I know. Okay, now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
All right.
So we'll just leave it there because we got to tease something for next time, right?
Heck yeah.
So that's going to be in episode 48 of Ghostwood.
Okay.
All right. And hopefully we only have to talk about that one once. Fingers crossed.
Well, we can watch it 80 times, but we
this
is
true. And, I probably have watched that 80 times because it's one
probably.
Of my next week. Yeah, the next episode's no. I know I'm kind of getting ahead of myself with my rating, but I really love that episode.
Okay.
So it's one of my favorite episodes.
Gotcha.
All right. So probably give it a really high rating. Just go figure. So come on back for that. In the meantime, of course, we'd love to hear from you. It's been a while since we've gotten some feedback, so drop us a line if you would. We definitely appreciate that. Ghostwoodcast, at Ghostwoodcast on the Twitter machine. Or you can email us directly at ghostwoodpodcast@gmail.com.
At the Gmail.
We'd love to hear from you there, or on Facebook at Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks Podcast. Funnily enough, that's what our Facebook page is called.
We want it to be easy to find. We don't want to be that mysterious.
Exactly. Yeah, we're not that mysterious and strange. Although
we're not that weird.
We're a little bit mysterious and strange, but not that much.
We're weird, but we want people to find us.
Exactly. We're pragmatic about our weirdness. How's that?
That is what we are for sure.
Exactly. So otherwise, go to Southgate Media Group if you would, and support our Patreon there because that helps us keep the lights on. I'm sure Rob Southgate, our editor, would definitely appreciate that.
Yes, because he does all of our heavy lifting. We just talk
Exactly. We're just, we're doing the talking
and
thing.
screw things up.
Yeah, exactly. And
That's our job.
yeah, and we try to get him like some content he can actually use. So we're going to try our best for
Yep.
that. Um, or you can, if you would, please go to iTunes or Apple Podcasts and please rate and review us because that helps people find us, and which would be fantastic.
Just even if you just want to go to Apple and give us 5 stars and then say I love potatoes, that's fine. Or just tell me how much you like pie,
Yeah, or just say how awesome
right.
Zan is, because
Or
that's
how awesome Charles is.
then you'd be lying, right?
Oh well, not it'd be not as much as they'd be lying if you talked about how awesome.
No, 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 no. But
No.
anyway, Zan, where can they find you on the interwebs?
I am on the Twitters and on the Instagrams as Udinax19.
Right.
I haven't been posting enough because I haven't been doing anything because it's been cold or I've been sick.
Yeah.
So it's boring. It's kind of boring over there right now, but I'll get better at it.
Yeah, yeah.
What about you,
You're a
Charles?
little under the weather. It's a little loud. I was too because I had this big ooey gooey eyeball, and
Oh,
that's all cleared up now. Thanks antibiotics.
that's so disappointing.
Yeah, I know. You were hoping for this big poppy
I wanted it to get
pimply.
lanced and be all like
Yeah,
Dr. Pimple Poppery
I
all
had
over the
this
place.
I had
But
this icky like cyst on my inner eyelid.
he had a sty. It was gigantic, and it
Yeah,
was going to be amazing if it got lanced.
yeah.
But no,
Thing had his
they
like
just
own
let modern medicine and science, drugs cure it. Whatever. How boring.
thing was so big it had his own gravitational pull. I think
Oh, he'd.
it was horrible. But as
Oh,
for
get
me,
the paper while you can.
exactly. As for me, at Charles Skaggs on the Twitter machine or at Charles Skaggs on the Instagram and Facebook, of course, for all you crazy kids on the Facebook. And my blog of geeky things.
What's that called?
Damn good coffee and hot. Damn good
Nice.
coffee and hot, which, funnily enough, fits right in with Twin Peaks. Go figure.
That does.
Where I talk about all kinds of comic book sci-fi news. Uh, Recently posted my Aquaman review, if you want to check that out, which
Spoiler
I
alert.
enjoyed.
Thumbs up or thumbs down.
Thumbs up. I enjoyed it.
Nice. Nice.
And not my favorite, but I enjoyed it quite a bit.
It's not for you, Charles.
I know. It's for my wife, apparently, because
I
my
was going to
wife,
say,
Lori, was
Lori
all.
and I are going to tell you exactly who this movie
Well,
is
to
for.
be fair, there is Amber Heard as Mira. So, there's a little eye candy there.
That's true, but nothing like what
Yeah. Yeah.
people who are attracted to
No,
men
no, 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 no. It's
are
not.
getting
It's
for this movie.
yeah. The Jason Momoa fest is not for me personally,
No.
but no. But again, Amber Heard looks really good. Okay, now I got completely sidetracked there for a moment. But yeah, all kinds of comic book sci-fi news of my other podcasts they do for Southgate Media Group, including Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast they do with Jesse Jackson and Allie, aka Karen Lindsay, and Phantom Zone podcast that I also do with Karen when she's feeling well enough to do that. We're trying to get that show back on track.
Oh, poor Karen.
She's having some health issues, but
Yep.
so our thoughts are with her, of course. And Titan Talk, the Titans podcast they do with Jesse, where we just wrapped up talking about Titans Season 1. We're going to talk a little bit about Young Justice Outsiders for probably a couple episodes, and then we're heading into the Doom Patrol live-action series, which I cannot wait.
So much stuff out there.
It's essentially going to be like the DC Universe version of Twin Peaks, I think.
That should be interesting.
Which
yeah.
I'm really looking forward to, especially now that I know that they're going to be incorporating a lot of Grant Morrison concepts, like Danny the Street.
Really?
So, really.
Oh, wow.
So we're going to get to see a transvestite sentient street on DC Universe show. Never expected that, did you?
Good job, DC Universe.
So yeah, credit there. So my fingers are crossed that that show is as weird as I hope it is.
I hope so. Yeah.
But we'll be talking about there on Titan Talk here starting in February. So tune in for that if you would.
Nice.
And if you need to find somebody to talk about that with me in case Karen's not feeling up to scratch.
Oh, okay.
So I'll be looking, but we'll see. But other than that, thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for your patience with us and trying to get this episode out. Hopefully we will get back on track next time and we'll do better. And because next episode, Lonely Souls, is a huge episode. Laura Palmer's killer is revealed in this
Dun dun
episode.
dun
Dun dun
dun.
dun. Which, of course, if you've watched the show, you know exactly who it is.
Oh yeah.
But if you haven't, you're in for a shock.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
it's a pretty impressive episode. One of my favorites.
It is.
Obviously.
Yeah, it has some major
moments, major ramifications.
Yep.
And some just very cool David Lynch-esque moments.
Oh yeah.
All right. So come on back. Ghostwood will be here and hopefully back on track. And we'll see you next time right here at Ghostwood Twin Peaks Podcast. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.